Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sins of a Solar Empire 2 Action. I'm your host, Karaslegacy, as we continue coverage of the 4 Power 2 Balance tournament. This is round number 4, so as we're heading towards the final standings and the final games, the action heats up as the player pool gets lower. For your viewing pleasure today, we have Navio and Dosit playing for the Bankstreet boys. On the south side, playing the red TEC, we have Phoenix, and the yellow Visari Storm God. This is Team Panda. Overall, playing in Crossfire today, one of the preferred maps for most of the tournament, I would say. Note that we're getting what I call the tight spawn on this map. There are 2 configurations of Crossfire. You can get the 2 allies close to each other across this ice bridge and the enemy across the gas giant here. Or you can get the other configuration, which is the allies being across the gas and then the enemies closer spawn. So this is a tighter spawn. In theory, it could be a greedier spawn depending on how the players play it. We have started to see a bit of change up in the match in this map recently. Early in the tournament, we were seeing a lot of pretty standard asteroid play, but lately we've seen a bit more chaotic rushes, a bit more odd pathing. So be very curious to see what our players have in store for us today. Looking at our openings, let's start with Dosa up here at the top. We've got a Rapture opener, and looks like hitting the Ice Planet first, which has been pretty standard stock for Visari so far in this tournament, focusing on taking out the siege vessels, and then looks like Dosa is actually going to... Okay, he's just focusing on the siege for now, and probably going to run. Be curious to see if Dosa actually tries to take on this entire play, or if he's just going to dip out here. We've got standard 1-1 opener for Dosit, and then, yeah, pretty typical Visari opener so far, or excuse me, Advent opener so far. Looking over at Navio, we see just the beginning, looks like, you know, egg push. Oh, and there we go. We do have a Desolator opener for the Visari. We've been seeing a lot of Defensor play on this map, but with, I think, the TC as the counterpoint across the way. The Desolator opener makes plenty of sense. And then otherwise, yeah, nothing too interesting to write home just yet. Let's look over at Team Panda. All right, looks like Phoenix is going with an aggressive military T2 push. We have seen that quite a bit from the TECs in the current meta. We do have an Akin opener for this one, and let's see if we're going to be expecting. We do have trade opened up. Let's take a look and see if we are actually, in fact... Okay, so we are seeing a pretty greedy opener, not even going to Civ T2 to get the discounts, just getting some initial trade opened up, and then the Akin is pushing forward across the asteroid line. Again, this is the greedier configuration of Crossfire, but you know, against a Visari, you always have to worry about that initial rush, although that has tapered off quite a bit in the recent patch. Because the TEC recently got a big boost to their homeworld income early on. What used to be kind of a Visari principal opener has started to shift a bit. Now that the TEC can kind of put a lot more economic pressure and therefore allow them to build up their forces a lot faster. All right, and then checking out Storm God. Okay, Storm God is moving pretty much immediately into Conrax, which is a popular opening versus Avon, so that makes plenty of sense. We do see just, looks like basic expansion with the egg opener. We do see Pernos turrets online here. I don't see any turrets currently. Let's see if we're getting any rainbow action on the other side. All right, so it looks like Phoenix is starting to fortify this asteroid against any pushes, and we may see his ally actually reinforce that defense with his own turrets. We'll see that in a minute. Okay, so we do see a bit of aggression over here from Navio, pushing forward with the egg into the left side. Now the question is, will he be going just for the garrison right here, which is a nice easy XP pickup, or if this is the beginning of an actual push further south. Now note up here, this is some good teamwork we have noted here, that Docet has taken one of the asteroids, or more specifically Navio has given him this asteroid, and nothing with it yet, but this is a chance for Docet to reinforce if they do continue this push line. He may build factories in this area and then again push deeper south. Okay, so far Navio's taken a cut at this derelict right here. Derelict's not particularly strong, but this is a pretty easy system actually to clear and to take early, so it's a good way to get some early XP. Meanwhile, on the right side, we do see, okay, so Docet has also cleaned up the derelicts. We do see just the Rapture. Let's see if we got any. So yeah, we're literally just seeing the Rapture and then whatever the Rapture has been able to pick up along the way. We do see a push into Tier 2 with refined warheads, so that suggests Tempest play. But no Tempest yet on the field, so not sure what Docet has cooked up for us today. Okay, so Docet is pushing into. Okay, we are seeing a double rush from both players. Looks like the Bankstreet boys are gonna take it to their opponents. I'm gonna slow us down just a little bit so we can actually watch the action on both sides here. Let's actually. Okay, so looks like Docet is going to use his siege frigate to just try to put a little pressure on this asteroid. This doesn't look like a full aggressive play, but with these two siege combined, there's a good chance he'll be able to snipe this asteroid. It's pretty new. We can see over here that Storm God has activated a carrier. So we do have a carrier, but no other real ships yet, and they're being pulled over in the ice. So yeah, there's a good chance Docet's going to be able to do a little damage here. All right, let's take a quick look back over to the left side. Okay, now very interesting. Now we do see, so Phoenix has set up a defensive line here, which Navio is basically completely bypassing at the moment. He's got 3 cap opener, very strong Visari core contingent, and with just a handful of Cobalts and this coal, I mean, this Visari force is going to dominate this area. This coal has nothing against a Desolator, even by itself is pretty much able to take on a coal one-on-one, and with the combination of these other 3, there's no way that Phoenix is going to be able to stay here. Now, okay, and we do see, you can see here that Storm God has used his Pernos influence to reinforce this line. So while this Visari push is going to be very strong, his reinforcements are going to have a tough time connecting with this force. So he may be able to push deeper into this territory, but he's likely not going to be able to hold this indefinitely. So we're going to have to see how Phoenix is able to hold this off. Now, Phoenix is trying to move his coal into the safety of his Gauss turrets, but he is taking a lot of damage, and this Desolator is hungry. As soon as it gets its missiles replenished, this coal may be in real trouble. There is no healing here. Let's take a look at Phoenix's tech. Yeah, while Phoenix has Tier 2, he does not have repair bays online. He has no real access to healing, and as he's already severely crippled. Okay, it looks like... Alright, Navio is pressing forward. I could have seen a play to return and try to snipe this coal, but there is a lot of defenses in play here, and he wants to continue maintaining pressure on Phoenix deeper in the base here. So it's an understandable play. I could have seen it either way. And on the right side, okay, it looks like Docet has taken over this asteroid, just focusing slowly on clearing this out. And Storm God is really taking this pretty cavalier. Looks like he is still focusing on his ice world here, but okay, it looks like he is starting to move his carrier back into action here. Okay, we're going to speed it back up. All right, and we do see Navio pushing deeper into the enemy territory. Phoenix has gotten his freebooters online. Looks like, yep. and is getting his next supply, but he does not really have anything that's going to stop a 3-cap Visari rush. Now, it looks like Phoenix has decided to just, he's not going to defend. He's going purely on offense here. And just taking a quick look at the back line here. Okay, we do see Docet is now pushing Tempest with this one fact that he's got. The Tempest are going to clean up these Cobalts pretty easily, and honestly, this wounded Cole is not going to be much help. These Tempests might be able to do some solid work here, but we do see a reinforcement here. Phoenix has got his freebooters online, and likely with the combination of all this, he will be able to put some pressure. So now it's a race, but with three Visari capitals, they're going to be able to put a lot of siege damage down here very quickly. And I have a feeling that Navio is, at least in the beginning, going to win out on this exchange. Now, the one thing we don't see from Navio is a lot of tech. This is a pure rush focus, pretty much an all-in at this point. He's going to clean up these 2 planets, and then let's see what the homeworld has to offer. Okay, there's no real defenses on the homeworld. Basically, he's just going to have... Phoenix is going to have to either push as aggressively as he can, or he's going to have to find a way to defend. But right now, I think Navio's got the upper hand. Okay, the Tempest are putting pressure down. I apologize. We're going to zoom back in real quick because these may be the hidden key. And actually, watching the Tempest here, if the Tempests are able to snipe one of these siege craft, it actually may be a really big deal coming into this play. Yeah, I don't think Stormgod is paying too much attention here. I understand he's got a lot going on his right side as well. But, okay, he is able to snipe one of these. Is he able to get another one? Ultimately, in this base race scenario, these siege craft are going to be the crux of this pressure. The fewer of these siege craft that are left, the less likely Phoenix is going to be able to turn this around. All right, now the Tempests are going into defense here. And again, what they really need to focus on here is the siege craft. The rest of the forces are ultimately not important to this battle. They're going to be able to kill his orbital structures, which is annoying, but if he can weaken out the siege craft, he will greatly slow down the pressure on his planets and give him time to finish the job further south. But yeah, Stormgod is not microing his Tempest. He is, or if he is, okay, now here he goes. He is starting to micro his Tempest. And they're going to do some good work here. But I am still fearful of Phoenix's pillagers here. So yeah, ultimately, while the Tempests were able to take out a few of these craft, I think that was a micro mistake by Docet ultimately. If Docet had focused again just on these pillagers, he might have been able to snag one or maybe both of them, and that would have been a big reduction in siege. Okay, but let's go back down to the action here as Navio continues the siege of this world. Now, we do see... Now, another factor that may come into this is Docet is Advent. And let's see if Docet... Okay. I'm not seeing any... Okay, Sanctify is not unlocked. Sanctify may be a key move in this game if Docet remembers to unlock it. Because when we get to, again, a base race scenario, Sanctify on the homeworld may save one while the enemy is killed by siege on the other. All right, we see Phoenix continuing to do some cleanup here. Is focusing on just killing orbital structures, kind of cleaning the rest of the area. And it looks like, yeah, he's going to leave his pillagers here to do work while he tries to do a pressure push into the homeworld. All right, now, Navio has not been idle here on his defenses. He does have pulse guns being set up. We do see a little bit of Gauss set up, but yeah, ultimately he's just a little bit of time away from more Gauss. And what a big question mark, will Phoenix actually try to contest this? It looks like, at least initially, the answer is no. All right, we do have Tempest back online. Oh, and Phoenix is trying a nice play here. He's set up 2 light factories. He is pumping out Siegecraft. He is, again, focusing on the planets, trying to take them out. And he's going to use that to try and push this homeworld. Now, the question is, will Navio be savvy to this? If Navio rotates his guns, he will be able to pick at these Siegecraft. But if they split, or if he's not paying attention, he may get his homeworld sniped. All right, ton of craft. I'm going to slow this down again just a bit because we have a lot of action going on right now. So, all right, Navio has finished and taken out the TEC homeworld. Big hit, big pressure. Okay, on the right side, we do see it looks like Docet is mostly holding pattern here. Yep, he's fortified up. He's got a handful of disciples, but he's mostly fortifying this position. He has taken the ice world as well, so I don't think Docet is going to put any more pressure further south, and that makes plenty of sense. His goal is to hold while his enemy or his ally reconnects. His ally's already done a tremendous job, basically killing off the opponent, and if he can just hold this position long enough, it will give them the win. Now, that said, we can see that Storm God is amassing a large amount of Conrax, and is likely going to make a push for this soon. He's got double fleet supply, and these defenses are not going to be enough to hold this out. But let's return to the north, as the big siege of Melchior continues. Okay, we've got a ton of siegecraft going on, but we do have guns. Looks like they are rotating. And here's the secret weapon. We do have Tempest on board. We're going to take us back to normal speed. All right, here is the crux force right here. These Tempests, the pulse guns are forcing the siege to move around, and it's Tempest's job to finish them off. All right, the siege craft have begun, but they are in range of some of these guns here. And okay, now as Phoenix is pushing in, he is taking a decent amount of pulse gun fire. All right, the Tempest are focusing correctly. They are trying to take out the siege. Oh, no, they may be switching. We do continue to see a steady trickle of siegecraft from Phoenix. He is 100% committed to taking out this homeworld. And it makes sense, realistically, if he does not take out this homeworld while he's lost his own, that is a tremendous momentum swing. And likely the Bankstreet boys would take the victory just from long-term attrition. All right. Now, the Pirate Rogues are well positioned here. Their PD guns are absorbing a lot of Tempest fire, but not all of it. And the Tempests are continuing to macro and pull out. Now, this is a huge amount of siege. The pulse guns are too busy focusing on this siegecraft, and almost certainly this homeworld is going to go down. But this is a big cost for Phoenix. This is 17 Krosov siege frigates. That is a tremendous cost in forces that cannot fight a fleet. And I'd still say, I mean, at the end of the day, Phoenix is still well behind here. But this amount of siegecraft, he may be able to do some serious pressure play and potentially get a comeback that way. All right, looking back down south, we can see Storm God is working on his breakout. Got 36 Conrax. Again, just a handful of Tempest. We have 2 Visari capitals. One of them, though, is near crippled. The Conrax are... Looks like they're focusing on the Tempest right now. It's probably at this point better to focus on these beam defense platforms. They really need to... Yeah, the problem is these beam defense are doing a lot of damage to his capital ships. The focus really needs to be on these Gauss or these beam targets. They need to take these out quickly. Then the capitals can reign supreme. These 2 capitals can do plenty of work against these disciples and Tempests. They don't even really need the Conrax to assist them. But now that the egg has been crippled, and this carrier is going to drop past its armor here shortly, this may give Docet a chance to do some damage here. All right, we do see that the Siege of Melchior has completed, and now each team has a homeworld down each. But we can see Navio is progressing towards his second opponent here. And it looks like Storm God's homeworld may go under another salt, but this time by Navio. Now, one thing to note here is neither side has taken the other side's homeworld yet. We'll be seeing if that's something they decide to kind of work towards here in a moment. All right, we have. All right, now this was smart. Stormgod pulled back his capitals and is just using his contracts to try and soften up these forces. That said, I would not be focusing too much. Okay. Yeah, he is now pushing, trying to do damage onto these Gauss, try to take them out. Yeah, it just seems like, yeah, the forces here are a little bit scattered. The contracts are kind of being split in terms of what their forces needed to be. And there it is. Navio has now entered the scene. This amount of skirmishers is going to wreak havoc with these contracts, and yet they're forced to retreat. Okay, so interesting. So Navio's decided not to go for the homeworld. Instead, is going to reinforce his ally and reestablish dominance of this defensive position. I think that makes good sense. You don't want to give Stormgod an opening to kind of push north, possibly do some shenanigans to you. This will give him a chance to kind of reinforce this position, get everything nice and resettled, and then they'll be able to re-push here in a moment. Now, that said, here's our secret weapon over here. Let's take a look. All right, Phoenix has about 440 supply. He's got 3 battleships, or sorry, 3 capitals, but especially the Marsda, which of course is its own siege powerhouse. A decent amount of cobalts, and of course the secret weapon, those Krosev. That is a tremendous amount of siegecraft. And is Docet even preparing anything for this? He has to know they're coming. Okay, we are seeing basically no response from Docet. They are focusing completely on the south side, giving a lot of free reign here to Phoenix to kind of come back in this game. There's a good, in fact, it's almost certainly likely at this point that Phoenix is going to take out Docet's homeworld before the Bankstreet boys can complete their conquest further south. This is a big opportunity and is a good chance for Panda to come back in this game. All right, let's look across the board as we look at fleets real quick. All right, we've already looked at Phoenix's. And then Stormgod also has about 490. He's still working on, he's got a carrier and still primarily Conrack play. All right, working on some of his key tier 2 techs, bifurcated shielding being a big one. Docet is struggling in fleet supply. He only has, he does have Iranians now online. He is focused mostly on Tempest, but this is a pretty weak fleet at this point in the game. This could be a real problem. And Navio, with 350 fleet supply, again, he still has the 3 caps with primary of skirmishers. But Panda has not been idle with their fleet supply. And I would, yeah, taking a quick look, they have double, maybe near triple fleet supply over the Bankstreet boys. So while the Bankstreet boys have dealt first blood in the economic damage, they are not going to be able to deal with the fleets that are coming out of Panda here much longer. All right, we do see, once again, let's check. Do we have any kind of unity response from Docet? We do have a recall online, so we may see a recall back to the homeworld to defend this, but that's if he was attempting to, that was way too late to try. Now, you might, it's possible they just decided that the push to the homeworld was the better play at this point, and I likely would agree with them. At the same time, I do think the lack of Sanctify earlier in the game was potentially a miss. So, getting a Sanctify early could have really kind of stalled out Phoenix's pressure, at least for a while, and may have been a big key to kind of getting this stuff back in play. Now, this is interesting. We do see, okay, Phoenix has slipped in a little protef here, and has retaken his homeworld. Meanwhile, Navio has also done similar. So homeworlds have been reestablished, and you know it's kind of a jumble of it's a cacophony over here, a jumble of craziness. Oh, okay, we've got. Oh, let's slow this baby down as we take a look at these forces. Okay, we've got 4 caps here versus a large smattering of Conracks, but 19 skirmishers are nothing to laugh at. Actually, I think these Conracks are going to be in trouble. Skirmishers can do pretty well with the Conracks, and this is just too many. Oh, and now we have the Tempest involved. Yeah, I think Storm God's going to have to get out of here. Yeah, plenty of damage coming out, but Storm God should have more than enough time to pull out of this. Unless he is not going to jump out. I mean, these Conracks are going to be dropping very quickly here. Alright, we're going to speed this back up. I don't know what Storm God's thinking. He needs to retreat. He needs to get out of here. This is not a winning battle for him, and he is just taking a lot of unnecessary damage. Yeah, Storm God just took an incredible amount of extra damage. The point is, in fact, okay, actually, I think this was less a mistake and more a excellent play over here by Navio. Navio used the Egg's gravity warhead to stall out the enemy phase jump. For those of you who don't know, because sometimes people actually don't know this about the Egg, its gravity warhead can actually stop phase jumps from leaving, but the timing is a little awkward. You basically have to start the warhead before the phase jump really gets going. Otherwise, the phase jump will complete even with the warhead on. So because of that, a lot of players actually don't know that the warhead can in fact stop phase jumping. So if you see a scenario like that where an enemy is trying to jump out, make sure to put the warhead as quickly as possible. You don't want it to be activating while the jump starts. You want to do it beforehand. Okay, but this has left Storm God in a decently precarious position. Now, 50 Conracks is nothing to sneeze at. That is a nice force of Conracks. But again, 17 skirmishers are going to do a decent job against them, and then with all the capital and Tempest back up, these Conracks are likely going to be taken out here pretty shortly. But we do see some Gauss reinforcements from Phoenix. He is bringing some extra heat to the table, and this Radiance, which took a lot of the heat damage early from the Conracks, is hurting. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be able. He might survive this one barrage, maybe, but I don't think he's. Yep, there it is. Okay, so that's one capital down. First real blood goes to Storm God, and we do see Navio's Marauder is also taking heavy damage here. Yeah, I'm thinking the Bankstreet boys and probably myself underestimated how good this defensive position is. Yeah, Storm God is taking names on this one. Both of Navio's capitals are in crippled condition, and they are a few missiles away from being sniped. And it looks like, all right, we do see Navio's Marauder made it out, but his Egg did not. So that was a huge victory there for Storm God. In this very tight battle where things are back and forth, I think between that and the fleet supply boost that they had earlier, Panda has not only gotten back in this game, they are now starting to get back into the driver's seat. Taking a look, Docet is currently at 350 supply, still focused primarily on Tempest. Docet has not reclaimed his homeworld and has no tech whatsoever going on. We do still have a recall active, but no other unique abilities. So Docet is kind of floundering right now. He's does not really have much to bring except, again, these smattering of Tempest. And his capitals are just not able to stand up against this many Conracks. Really, the capitals just need to get out of here, let the Tempest and other ships stick around, do some damage, try to clear out the Conracks before these capitals come back and engage. And in fact, okay, Doset's Rapture almost pays the price for that small timing issue. Okay, looking at Phoenix has basically cleared out Doset's entire backyard here with his siegecraft. Phoenix is pretty much taken over the entire north side and is now recombining his forces with his allies. Looking over, Phoenix is still at around 40 fleet supply. Looks like no real change. So Phoenix has not been fleeting very much. No real tech, so I'm not sure where he's been spending his money. Are we seeing any real tech build up or anything? We do have Pillage War Chest. That's a big economic booster in these kind of siege engagements. In fact, something I'll highlight for newer players. This is the Primacy's, one of their special abilities. It allows you to gain credits when you're doing siege damage. While this is always a good tech, you should always get this tech. In these kind of siege scenarios that we saw earlier, the amount of resources you can get from that tech is incredible. A high priority for Primacy players when they're doing this kind of aggressive sieging. Okay, now Phoenix is coming right in the nick of time, and this Rapture may pay the price for it. Was just not quite able to get his Mars to stun onto that ship. But he is going to take a few Tempests with him as we see Bankstreet boys forced to pull away. Alright, Storm God is maintained his Conrack fleet. No real focus on tech at this point, and we are seeing 2-2 on the influence spectrum, including we don't usually see the jump field stabilizer too much, but in some of these quick engagements where these are kind of jumping back and forth, it might be an interesting time to pull those out. In fact, I'm actually curious if we are seeing any thing there. Let's take a look at Phoenix. Okay. Yeah, nothing too special on that side. We do see Doset attempting to engage this fleet with his Tempest. They will be able to soften up and do some damage here, but they're not going to be able to do much. And the question is this Rapture going to be taken out? There's no real healing heal. The Corsair's missiles are flying. There is no missile defense, and this Rapture is slowly getting whittled away. I do not think it is going to survive. Now I say that the Rapture is working pretty quick, but it's stalled out. I think this is a mistake. Doset has stalled it out. He needed to keep sending it forward to keep that momentum. He's trying to turn around. The shield's burst was not in time, and with that, one of the last big weapons in Doset's army is now defeated. Now, this Cole is going to take some licks. It has got some Gauss damage on it. It is taking a bunch of Tempest missiles. It's going to go down to cripple, but it should be able to make it out of here. Excellent play by Phoenix. Pretty much neutralizing the last big feather in Doset's cap. And now we do see Phoenix is returning to the scene of the crime over here, bringing his siegecraft back in play, and will likely take out this homeworld here shortly. That said, we do see Doset starting to re-clean up his backyard with his own siegecraft, really starting to hit over in Phoenix's unprotected areas. And yeah, we're not really seeing any defenses from Phoenix, but we are seeing a steady stream of Kobolds, and Kobolds can do a pretty decent job against siegecraft. And yeah, it looks like that's exactly what these are for. This is a good lesson for your newer players. For those of you who are having a lot of trouble in these kind of siege engagements where player enemies are sending siege everywhere and you just have so much trouble keeping up with them, this is the trick right here. Creating even just a handful. I mean, even 7 maybe a little light, but even like 10 Kobolds or light frigates, could be skirmishers, could be disciples for the Advent. In the newest patch, light frigates are now very quick, and so you're able to kind of snipe down these siegecraft before they really start getting play. Now, the trick is, what you do have to watch, though, is if you attack the siege craft and they jump out, your ships will not follow them innately. So this is something you have to pay attention to, and you have to kind of keep your ships moving so that they'll chase down and continue to do damage. All right, as the action starts to settle here a bit, let's kind of take stock of where we're at. Phoenix has hauled off on tech, maintaining basically just his core fleet supply here. And again, I'm not really sure where all of his resources are going. If he's feeding them to his ally, or if something else going on. We do see Storm God going into self-repair armor. Honestly, quite a bit late for that, considering his tech, some of his capitals earlier, but better late than never, as they say. He is maintaining his two carriers, and yeah, we're seeing just a strong focus on Conrax, which makes perfect sense. I mean, Docet really does not have any counters to missiles at this point. These will be able to clean out the structures very easily, and I don't see anything that's going to stop Storm God's force anytime soon. Docet's up to 315 supply with a small force of purge vessels, and really just focusing on his Tempest, but he has no capitals right now. No capital ships whatsoever, and no tech what to speak of. So Docet is basically just this Phantom Force at this point, and we're practically at a 2v1 towards this notion. Now Navio at 340, we are seeing a buildup of skirmishers, probably to counteract a lot of the siege craft we're seeing. He has the one Marauder. We do have an Overseer, which we don't actually see a lot of nowadays, but that's around to help do some debuffing. Otherwise, no one's doing any kind of really aggressive tech. Now we do see Navio. Now Navio does have a data archive with a hugely improved research rate. His current research, that's literally basically tripling his research, or at least time and a half, right? But he's decided not to use it. And I think the problem is Navio is really unsure of where to use it. There's so much back and forth here. There's so many planets dying so quickly. The second you place the artifact, you're fearful it's just going to die out. But, I mean, he could probably put on one of these back worlds here and put some good use to it. I'm actually going to speed things up a little bit as the two forces are kind of battling back and forth. It's pretty much a battle of the siege at this point. You see Navio has also now brought in his own destructors, starting to go to work. The purge vessels from Docet are now starting to kind of squeeze, and they're trying to squeeze out Phoenix at the top here and retake their northern territories. Now, interesting enough, funny enough, these neutrals here have actually been a real pain in the side for pretty much all players around. Not only are they doing damage to the forces, but they are ensuring that this world cannot really be taken. We can see that it was colonized, but the creep siege workers are going to take that out quickly. Now, this is interesting. Phoenix is going to shift to the south. I assume not to take care of this gas giant. I think he is going to... Alright, looks like no, I may be wrong. He may actually... Is he going to make a push here? Or is he just... I think he's waiting for his Aachen to help tank against this whole fleet. This is a nasty pile of creeps, though, and if he's not watchful with his line here, he may take a lot of damage from these derelict guardians. So, one thing that's important to note, and a lot of players do not know this, if you bring your own siege, creeps will prioritize it, even oftentimes over your capital ship. So this is something to watch for. You got to be careful if you're bringing your own siege here. A lot of times the creeps will snipe them out. Okay, so it looks like the path was not too bad, and he did not take too much from the creep, but he definitely lost several siege engines in that exchange. That said, Phoenix is going to come out here with his full fleet, and there is nothing in this region to defend. I think he's going to be able to clean house here and and take back his homeworld in short order. Now let's look at the north side. Phoenix has just one bastion at the top here. Both the Bankstreet boys have been able to reclaim their homeworlds and get that back in action. So, as crazy as this game has been, we are almost seeing this weird reversion where it looks like the Bankstreet boys have actually kind of taken over more of the territory for the moment. But Phoenix looks to reestablish his own zone, and we may actually see the starting positions kind of reset here in the next few minutes. Now, I think this is going to be a clutch play here from Storm God. Storm God has taken the time, now that his yard is cleared, instead of kind of trying to push deeper forward or take out forces here, he is going after this Ferris world. He's basically grabbing himself a second homeworld. So if you lose your own homeworld and you want another, and you need another, I mean, why not, right? Storm God is also, out of all players, I think Storm God has come out of this the best. He really has not lost a lot of his critical economic infrastructure, and now again has a second homeworld in play. He has managed to get to tier 3 tech and is unlocking the Orculus. We are seeing Starbase play, which has been very rare in these 2v2 matches, especially on Crossfire. But again, it makes sense with this constant back and forth play, siege flying around, starting to fortify these key defensive areas and lock them down. May be the key to kind of pushing this game to its finale. We do also see pronounced tech still here, still mostly for the turrets. I will be curious to see if we see unassailable fortress here in a little bit. Again, when you're dealing with these siege wars, having the ability to add extra health. Okay, and all right, we do see, an unsaleable fortress has been putting on Hagera, along with an artifact. We do have a factory artifact here that will make all the ships there cheaper. Let's take a look. So this world has a long way to go to kind of replenish, but we do have the factory in line. We have looks like just the one nano factory here, so and then the fleet beacon. So that discount may be a big deal for Storm God. Again, with everything been so chaotic of late. All right, we're going to slow things down again as we take a look. Okay, we see the fall of Phoenix's last world up here. Dosit and Navio have managed to reconnect their forces. They're bringing in about 800 fleet supply or so, which, considering that Storm God has 800 himself, again, positionally, the Bankstreet boys are looking pretty good. But when it comes to the raw military power, Panda is still quite dominant at this point. At least I say that. But actually, let's take a look at Phoenix. So, Phoenix does not have a lot of fleet supply. He only has about 270. And a good portion of it is in the Crosavs. So this fleet is not scary by any stretch, but it does contain 3 capitals. By themselves wouldn't be a big deal, but combined with the rest of Storm God's fleet is definitely a dominant position over the Bankstreet boys. So if the two come to any kind of clash in the near future, Panda will have a decisive advantage. It looks like we do see Phoenix picking up some Kalinite here through the auction. Okay, and it is what I was suspecting. It looks like Phoenix is focusing on dumping most of his money to his ally. That's very understandable because, again, Phoenix lost almost all of his infrastructure, where his ally was able to maintain a lot of his factories. And again, he has this artifact factory. So by funneling his resources into Storm God, who already has, the other thing to note here, right? Storm God already has his tier 3, meaning he's unlocked his higher fleet supplies. So by funneling that money into his ally, he's able to continue to pump up Stormgod's forces much quicker than he could do with that money himself. And I think that's a mistake a lot of 2v2 players make, or even in higher tier play. It can get easy to go, well, I'm the weaker player, I need the money because I need to build up. But when you're the weaker player, time is not always on your side. And if your ally has the production capability and the supply, he's going to utilize those resources much more effectively than you are. And so giving it to him is literally doubling what you could have done with them otherwise. All right, we're going to speed things up a bit, as the two are just kind of, looks like they're both kind of clearing house and taking over key worlds. Okay, now we do see, all right, so we do see Navio has now also secured his quote-unquote second homeworld, and we do see Docet has kind of reclaimed a bunch of his worlds now. But we do see the first potential skirmish in a while. We'll go and slow it back down, as the gas giant is now under assault. Now Stormgod has made it here first. He is going for the derelict, but he does have several minutes to reclaim this. And it looks like we do see Navio engaging this fleet. Now, this is a large amount of capitals. And I suspect, and yes, with the contracts coming up now, Navio is not going to be able to hold this, and he's going to be forced back. That is a nice timing and a big deal. This will allow Stormgod to secure this derelict, assuming he is going to take it. He may just, he looks like he is going to apply pressure. He recognizes blood in the water. He sees the fleet supply disadvantage, and his capital ships are just better than this fleet. And the pressure is now on. We do see Stormgod's looking like he's going to try a side raid. Probably going to go maybe hit Navio here and then just kind of work his way up, clearing out whatever orbital structures he can, just being annoying, trying to keep his opponents off guard. All right, Navio is in full retreat as Stormgod's forces are coming in. The skirmishers can do a bit of work, and we do have a level 6 Marauder, which is actually something you don't see every day. Marauders often rarely get to level 6. I'll just highlight it right here. So the phase restoration, for those who don't know, you can apply it to a friendly ship, usually a capital ship more specifically, and if that ship dies during the duration, it'll actually come back to life a short time after with a bunch of health and shield restored. So that is a pretty nice ultimate if you have a second capital. But correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Navio currently does not have a second Marauder, so his ultimate is basically worthless at this point. Okay, we do see Stormgod starting to pressure. Again, his fleet at this point is pretty much invincible. Bankstreet boys do not have anything that really can contest this at the moment. And so Stormgod is just going to start pushing, and looks like he is going to go right for Macayan and take out Docet's homeworld once again. Docet has secured his second homeworld and is getting a shrine up on it. We do see Docet trying to get some of his tech back in play. His fleet supply has started to recover. He does have Guardians online now for a lot more tankiness. He's got Raptures, and he's got 54 Tempest. This is an okay force, but the Tempest numbers are just not high enough to deal with 67 assailants plus the bevy of capitals here. So I think Stormgod's going to have free reign to kind of push into this homeworld. Now, meanwhile, Phoenix is just happy to kind of work the backyard. Yeah, he's just doing whatever backyard damage he can, feeding his ally his resources, giving him whatever help he needs. Okay, we are seeing tier 2 tech on the Civ side for Phoenix now, so he'll be able to kind of build up his economy again. His homeworlds, looks like he does have his homeworld back in order, and he has been able to build up his defenses a bit more. So he is trying to stabilize his backyard against any future siege invasions. Trying to at least create this kind of stabilized backyard that could be useful if this goes into another long siege engagement, but we're not seeing any of that yet. Now, we do know that Storm God got Orculus tech, and I'm curious. And yes, actually, we do. We do have an Orculus starbase online, guarding his second homeworld. We also, let's see, and we do have one on his premier ice planet. Again, this is where the artifact is. This is where his main production is being set up. So makes plenty of sense. Storm God is looking, I would say, in a pretty dominant position. And those Orculuses here might get tested here shortly. Okay, looks like, is Docet, Docet's trying to make the decision. Is he going to head back to his homeworld to defend? Is he going to push further south? What is Docet going to do? And it looks like Docet is going to send Siegecraft to kind of re-clean up the mess left behind by Storm God's forces. Otherwise, okay, so where is Docet going? Is he going to go for the other desert world to try to secure a third home world? Possible. We'll have to see where he's going with that. Now, this is something I think Storm God has kind of forgotten. He may have forgotten these Raider forces and all the other work he's doing. These Raiders could have been moving further north, trying to do some more damage, being annoying, but a minor mistake in the overall play. Storm God's still in a very strong position. Okay, now this is interesting. Navio has come in with a couple of destructors. They are doing some really good work here. The defenses are trying to spin around. They are trying to get in range. They are now just in range. We do have Cobalts on the position. We do have Capitals as well. The siege engines are firing away. We're at 400 health on the homeworld as the siege and Armistice, a clutch Armistice from Phoenix, has knocked down the Siegecraft, giving him precious time to get his forces in play, get a little bit of health on his homeworld, and he should be able to take these out. But the timer is on. We're back to 500 health. One destructor is down. The other two are firing from all sides, and with that, the siege are destroyed with 400 health left on Phoenix's homeworld. He has held. And it looks like that unassailable fortress came in real handy on that play. Oh, just something to note, by the way. It looks like this is actually quite a nice homeworld. Phoenix actually has some really nice bonuses here. Actually, now that I say that, let me just take a quick look. Yeah, Phoenix definitely drew the nice, the big stick when it came to homeworld bonuses. The only one in this map that actually got any homeworld bonuses, so that's pretty nice. Okay, Navio is making another push here. Okay, we do have now a Quartal Devastator online, and remember, backed by that Marauder ultimate. So this Quartal is going to be very, very tanky, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised Navio might not actually want to push this. Oh, he's taken the world, so he's decided he doesn't need to take out the defenses just yet. He's going to head back further north and kind of resecure. Meanwhile, Docet is doing what we had suspected. It looks like he is going to try and capture his quote-unquote third homeworld, although only second right now, as Storm God is holding his planet warm for him. Docet has gotten up to 760 fleet supply, focusing still on the Raptures, building up a bit more Tempest, and then we see a smattering of vessels he's managed to dominate over time. Storm God, though, continues to climb, near 1,200 supply, basically going into mass Conrack, mass capital. The Bankstreet boys are doing pretty well, but as we're about to see here, the problem they're going to have is they just can't hold anything. Storm God is playing this right. He is... Oh, and here... And we can see here. Storm God has not only taken his key territory, he has put in the work to hold it. With these defenses, with the Orculus, he has no real fear of his core key worlds being taken. Meanwhile, we see Storm God's just kind of, he finishes up over here. He just comes back around in the middle. He just cleans house. He's going to just run through these planets. And honestly, by the time Docet actually builds up the planet levels, these planets are getting taken out. They have real no benefit to him. They're not providing anything that he can utilize before they're getting taken away. Meanwhile, looks like Phoenix has kind of finished securing. Just take a look at his homeworld real quick. Yep, he's got some defenses up. Yeah, it looks like his homeworld is stabilized. Everything's looking good there. His backyard is in a nice position. And Phoenix has gotten up to 500 supply with a second Aken, and now is pushing pretty heavy Cobalt. We do see, it looks like Phoenix is finally getting to his tier 3 tech. So that may be coming online here soon. So with all this in mind, where do we kind of stand? We're an hour and 40 into the game. We've seen the positions taken, retaken. The map has flipped more than once. But at this point, I would say the game is firmly in Panda's hands. Storm God has the dominant fleet supply. He has a fleet that really cannot be beaten. He is currently still occupying the homeworld, the Advent homeworld for the Bankstreet boys. And again, he's done the work to lock down key systems. In fact, I would actually be interested to see if he's putting an Orculus up here. Alright, looks like no Orculus there. But we do have another Orculus here. So yeah, just doing it right. Everything's nice and fortified, nice and held. Storm God is looks like he's splintered off some forces here, while the bulk of his forces are just sharking around. The south has now been decisively taken and secured for Panda, and I think at this point it's really a question mark of what can the Bankstreet boys do at this point to get back in the game. And I'm actually, apologies, I'm going to speed this up a bit more. I think, okay, they're going to try to retake their home. Well, that makes sense. Realistically, I think the only way that they have a good shot at this game is to try and pull Panda into a defensive position that they control. It looks like we may have a skirmish here in a second. Basically, they're going to have to pull their enemy into some kind of defensive position and utilize that defense in order to gain some kind of military advantage. But that's quite a tall order. That said, their two fleet supplies are now strong enough to at least match Storm God's. So Storm God still has a pretty solid force because he has so many Conracks, and of course he has a good number of his own capitals as well. But the fleet supply numbers are now large enough where this is no longer a curb stomp. Although I say that, but Docet's going to need to get his forces back over here if he's going to contest this. So there is the potential for a mistake here by Storm God. If he underestimates this force, because up till now he's had such a dominant fleet supply, he's just been able to run ramshot over everyone. There is a risk that he might get overconfident and not respect this fleet enough. But okay. This is right here, the Bankstreet Boys' secret weapon, and okay, this could be a potential play. So what we have lined up here, we have a level 6 Rapture on the edge of territory with Malice in operation. Malice can shift battles, it can win games. Now, the crux of this is they're kind of positioning themselves on the edge here. And the goal is, this is a trap. They're setting up a trap for Storm God here. They want Storm God to jump in, to be aggressive, to forget, to say, hey, you're beating us, you're dominant, we can't touch you, just come in and kill us. They want him to jump in, so that they can trap him, use the malice, and hopefully crush a huge portion of his fleet. Storm God wisely has scouted. He has not fallen for it. That said, this has given the Bankstreet Boys a chance to turn the tables back. With the malice with the malice in their back pocket, they can now kind of dictate the position of the battles. This gives them a chance to kind of clean out some of these worlds. Forces Storm God back a bit. But that said, remember, Storm God still has Orculuses. He's fortified, he's comfortable, and he has not been idle, as he and Phoenix are now sweeping again back into the north side. We have a small contingent of Conrax, some Destructors. We've got Phoenix with his capitals. And I know we had some Raiders earlier. I don't know if we still have those. Yeah, there should be 37 Raiders sharking around somewhere. We see a handful of Raiders there. I don't know where... Oh, are they over here? Ah, here they are. Yep. And then we have the Raiders kind of just chewing through these defenses. Pulse guns do okay versus Raiders, but generally Raiders will chomp them up and get a lot of money for their trouble. So yeah, they're softening up the homeworld for another push here from Phoenix's Siegecraft. So yeah, Storm God's not in a hurry. He recognizes that, okay, this fleet's dangerous, but there's nothing that this fleet can truly do to him as long as he's careful, as long as he pulls back when he needs to, and he always has some star bases to fall back to. Storm God is comfortable. Like, this is not a position that he's worried about. He does have 2 resonants here that he needs to use. He does have mobility online, but no combat or utility abilities. So small mistake there. Or potentially he's trying to look at what the fleet is currently set up before he commits to those. Again, we're going to speed things up as the two... Nope. Actually, I apologize. Let's go take a look at this play. All right, the Orculus is going to work, doing its duty. Now, this is a lot of Tempest, decent skirmishers, and Malice in play. But so yeah, I mean, this Orculus did some good work, but ultimately it's not going to be able to take out this entire fleet by itself. Still, it did drain some forces, depleted them a bit, and all the while their forces are up to about 1,300, Storm God is rocketing past them now at 1,420. We also see Storm God's Raider fleet is going to work, doing God's work, or the Visari God, whatever they happen to be. All right, we do see the Bankstreet Boys. Melchior has fallen once again. Phoenix is likely going to take that for himself. Actually, no, probably Storm God will take that. And the noose is being squeezed. Bankstreet Boys are not going to be able to push through this center line. There's too many fleets and too many defenses. Phoenix is just going to continue to kind of come around this left side over here. And eventually we're going to get a squeeze where these two forces are going to be able to reconnect. Again, we're going to go back to... let's actually double the speed here for a second. And see what these two players decide to do. Okay, we do see... Yeah, we do see just some general tier 3 teching going on from Storm God. We do see anything new. Just continuing to increase his contract numbers, which makes, again, good sense. We're really not... Yeah, we're not really seeing anything on the PD side to defend against those contracts. Only the Marauders can really help against those. And they're not going to be effective against that many contracts by themselves. Docet still has no tech. No tech. We do have 3 and a mothership. So 3 Raptures and a mothership are now online. And then still a large contingent of Tempest, but Tempests are starting to run out of favor at this point in the game. When these fleet supplies are this high, I mean, Tempests are always useful for something, but they can't really push out the damage quickly enough to be a contender like they once were. Navio also has no tech, and basically Navio is down to this one world. So they're likely going to have to defend this, and Storm God's happy to let them for the moment. Again, time is completely on Panda's side. They're being patient. They're being smart. They are just closing the noose. They're going to probably take out this world here shortly. Yeah, the Tempests might do a little bit of work, but against 10 Siegecraft, they're going to take out this asteroid lickety-split. So, Navio is pretty much forced to a single world. And now it's quite frankly, I'm surprised there hasn't been a GG at this point. I don't know what Bankstreet boys could do at this point to come back in this game. This is literally just a matter of time. This is just, I think the two teams are just having some fun, maybe building up to one big final battle. But yeah, this game is pretty much over. There is no, I do not see a miraculous. It would have to be the malice of malices. Like, that malice would have to kill like both enemy fleets, and with them taking minimal damage for to see a real turnaround at this point. I'm gonna super speed this up. See if we can get down to a final battle here. All right. Navio looks, is he thinking about a battle? He's not. He's just coming to say hi. Unless this is a ruse, unless they're trying to pull this force into a trap position. Okay, we do see the fleets coming in. Again, Storm God's pulling back. Yep. Storm God again is doing this right. He knows there's a rapture. He knows malice is pretty much the only thing that can hurt him at this point. It's the only weapon that has even a shot at taking away their victory. And finally, as the Bankstreet boys recognize that there's no pulling Storm God into a trap. It was their one play to try and maybe pull him into some kind of trap with malice that could allow them to turn the tables. But Storm God has proven to be too wily, as smartly just has shown them it's like, hey, I have the entire map. You have to come to me. If you want to fight me, you got to beat me. Otherwise, I'll just continue to eco. I'll continue to tech. There's nothing you can do to stop me. And the Bankstreet boys have finally realized that there's simply no hope. And with that, the GG is called. That completes game number 1 of this best of 3 series. But there is more Sins 2 action on the way that I will continue to cast. So definitely tune in for that. I'm Karaslegacy, and I'll see you next time.